you Friday?
Sorry. Not possible. Who's my hit? I'm on mute.
Unmute myself. So if the participants, if you would raise your hand if you can hear me, that would be great. That way we know you guys are. Hello. Maybe they'll hear me, maybe they won't. Perfect. Okay. Yep, I think we're good. All right, perfect. So go ahead. We're good. So I apologize to everybody for getting my wires crossed. I totally thought this was just in person, so I will try and make sure I don't have anything crazy going in your direction. Right. I have no idea. But yeah, so I'm just here to let you guys know anything Maris Matrix related you guys want to hear about. We had talked originally about kind of new member stuff, so just kind of a quick overview. Do you guys want to stick pretty close to Matrix, or are there other things you want to look at? What's kind of the best?
Are we going to start needing to learn
Remind? It's nothing that's going to go away. Matrix we still have for another 2 to 3 years. And I know it's even getting an upgrade next year. So it's something I would look at, but not something that's like you have to go out tomorrow and learn it. Yeah, it is a good system. If you guys have seen the marketing piece on that, that's amazing to me. So we can absolutely show that too if you guys want to take a quick look at that.
Maybe like any tips and tricks that we might be missing from the 101.
All right, absolutely. So why don't we start there? We'll start with kind of Matrix 101 stuff. Please feel free to ask questions. Yes. Yep. At least I think it is. Yes, it says so. So yeah, we'll start with Matrix. We'll go through all the kind of tips and tricks, especially having to do with search, because I think that's where most people stay. Then we can talk about any auto email stuff and maybe CMA questions. And then we'll jump in and I'll show you guys that Remind piece just so you can see what it looks like. So let me launch Matrix here. And we'll just go straight to the search screen. When you guys search addresses, you don't use this lovely speed bar at the top, right? Because that gets a little frustrating.
Sometimes they do, but it's
very rare. It's kind of finicky because you can't add directions or suffix. So if you have something on 123 North Main Street, you just want to try 123 Main, and that's going to give you a better option from there. But what I generally tell people is use the search box because that's the easiest. It tells you how to divvy out each individual piece. With regards to the search box and things, do you guys know about the comma and the asterisks and the exclamation points in the system? Okay, so we'll kind of take a look at that then. So one of the big ones is, what's a good highway number around here you guys use a lot? Anything? Highway N. So we don't know if the agent abbreviated that or if they spelled it out, right? So we need something in the place of that word highway. So we're going to use in the name the asterisk, and a space, and the letter N. Okay, that's going to go out and search anything that begins with N or that has N in it. Okay, so then you could have gone further. We could have added a zip code because, right, we have 1,500 results here. But we could have added a zip code. We could have set a street number, any sort of thing that way. However, yes, and that space lets it know it's a different word, so it doesn't pick up like Brown Street or Main Street. So it's a totally separate word. So yeah, that is kind of the biggest one, is that asterisk, space, and whatever letter comes next. You can always put an asterisk after it. If you know your client said it was on N, but maybe it's on NN, or there's any number of reasons it could be. So your asterisk can go on either side of that term, basically. One of the ones that people also get kind of frazzled by is a first street, right? Did we spell it out? Did we abbreviate it? How do we do it? So if I go first, comma, 1ST, that's just going to give me both of them together. So I don't have to worry about looking it up twice. 1ST. Yep, so that's going to give me both of those.
Also, too, I don't know if we've said it before, but let's say that somebody calls and you catch the numbers,
Right?
but you don't know how to spell the street.
Yes.
So you can put the street numbers in,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll pull up every listing with that street number.
Right.
The actives will pop up at the top.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so I've done that a million times because I didn't quite, I heard the 1, 2, 3, 4. But
Right.
I didn't quite hear what the street was.
Exactly. So that's, you know, if you heard 1, 2, 3, 4, you could put that up here. Oops, spell it correctly. And then you could, maybe you knew it started with a B. So you could do B asterisk, you know, or you could just do 1, 2, 3, 4. Any of that will kind of help you through those searches.
You don't necessarily have to put asterisks if you just do a partial name of a street.
Sometimes they'll come in. I always just use the asterisk just because, yeah, a street name, as long as it's not looking for a north, south, something like that, you should be okay with the partial.
So like Brentwood, like the BRE,
Mm-hmm.
and the correct number.
Yeah, it usually will pull up all of the words with just that start with BRE. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. The last one, and because I just said it earlier, say that I do a search residential detail, but I want to exclude something. So the exclamation point will exclude from your search. So if you don't want a specific subdivision, if you don't want a specific zip code, that exclamation point at the beginning will exclude that. And if you have more than one, you're just going to exclamation point and do the second one as well. But you want that exclamation point before each term so that the system knows it doesn't want this. So we can play with a little fun one with the asterisk. So, and I use this a lot in my 101 classes. Does anybody search through marketing remarks?
And I've had a hard time
Have you?
finding stuff.
Okay. So do you use asterisks with your search still?
I don't know if I did that with.
Okay. So this is kind of the key here. Say that my client calls me and says, Randi Marie, I have a goat, and I just need somewhere that allows goats. We don't have a term like that in Matrix, but maybe the agent entered it. So if I put asterisks, goats, asterisks, that tells the system the marketing remarks contain that word. So
everyone looking at pictures of my home. So I don't know that.
yeah, so if I just go in here instead and put horses, I have 91 matches in the system for horses.
Which, just out of curiosity, put horse and take the
Sure.
S. I'll take the S off and see if more.
Yes, and you have 160. So yeah, exactly what Kathy just mentioned. Remember to play with your term.
Yeah, horse property.
Yes.
Horses.
Yes, so you want to play with your terms too, if there's any deviation. Talking about as is properties, right? That's a lot of times what it's used for. So if I go as is like this, I also need to go as is like that. Okay, so you're trying to come up with any term that agent could use in those marketing remarks. So let's go back and show you horse for a second, because the results then, you don't want to read through them all, right? So if I go to the summary view, it puts my remarks here. If I hit Control F on my browser and type the word horse, it will highlight it for me, and I can just hit enter through those remarks. All right. So Control F. It's the find key on your browser. I believe in Mac it's Command F, I think, but yeah. And then it will just open somewhere, depending on your browser. I'm in Chrome right now, so it opens up at the top. I think Firefox might be down in the corner. There's some
We
different.
just lost Paula. She is horse hunting right now.
So it depends. So you'll see right here, Chrome pops it up to the top. Firefox puts It's kind of more down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kendall, did you have a question?
So how do you get to this screen?
This one, instead of, normally when you go to your results, you get a single line display. If you change that to a summary view, your marketing remarks are right there. You could do one of these, which you guys might have already done. You can add a column to your single line display, and you can add remarks in there, but the reason I show you summary is because it tries to keep it in one line, so that one line stretches all the way across the page. But you can always add other things too. We'll come back to that. All right. So other things on the search page. You guys know about commute time searching through Matrix. So if my client says, hey, this is where I work, I want to live within 5 minutes of this building. What? You just guess? I got that. So if you head over to the map right here, just click there. There's a little icon. It looks like a clock, and that's INRAC's drive time. So when I click on it, I can say, oh, I work at 1716 Hidden Creek Court, or my client does. They need to get there at 8:30 in the morning. They don't want to commute longer than 5 minutes long. When I add, that's going to put that starburst on the map for me.
Can you go back to the very beginning of it? I was so enthralled by what you were saying. I was writing, and then I missed the first click.
No problem.
If you miss the first click, you're gone.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yes. So if I search residential, detail or quick, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I just had to click on the map. It's this clock icon at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Every now and then a car will drive in front of it, so you'll know that's kind of a commute time search. Mm-hmm. And you can add more than one, right? Because you'll have spouses who are like, well, I want a 5-minute commute, but I also want a 5-minute commute.
That was like your first time.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like 3 hours worth of knowledge already.
Okay, well, I'm done. Let's go. So yes, you can always have more than one. There are multiple new drawing tools. I don't know if you guys have seen the freehand tool now, because a lot of people have difficulties putting the radius or the rectangles on there. So they just added the ability to just circle where you want to be. You can also do multiple areas and then exclude places as well. So you can always add those.
Redlining?
No, well,
Yes, but no.
right. Kind of a, if they.
I haven't taken ethics yet this year, but.
Not saying they don't want to live here, but they've said, I don't want to be on this side of 70 instead of, yeah, this is my defined area.
In trouble again.
You just led me to, there's a realtor.com search, and they put crime layers on theirs, and I always talk to your managing broker. I'll show you where it is. You talk to your managing broker. I wouldn't go sharing those crime statistics. But yeah, so all those kind of drawing tools are there. You also have layers. I don't know how much you guys use those. So if you want to see where elementary school boundaries lie, those you can put on the system as well. Flood zones.
Somebody's buying the Scott loan.
This is the little layer icon right here. And you can just click whichever one you want. Okay, so, and there are flood zones.
So verify, right? So
Yes.
verify with the school districts.
Absolutely, the best source of information.
Yeah.
Always school district.
I've seen more listings lately where there's a disclosure in the marketing remarks that the school boundaries are found, blah, 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 blah,
Mhm.
because they change so often that even their own websites aren't updated.
Right,
And
right.
so I've seen more disclosure of people saying, hey, this is what we think is the school, but we're not sure.
right, yep. And matter of fact, if you look in the system at any Illinois listings, they don't even put elementaries, middle schools there. They just put district because the lines change so drastically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if I kind of zoom in, because your flood zones are red right now, but as you get closer, you can also put flood zones on the map so that if you're in an area where you're just not sure, it would put that property in that floodplain. This is a good one. And I love that they've put it in your 360 view now versus you having to open up the flood
There's
map
also,
for
it's
it.
also in the tab though.
Yes, exactly. That, and so that's pretty simple to just go in, click on the little tab there, go over to flood map, and that property's right there. And it's got all the codes and information. All right, let's go back. So any other questions on the map you guys have? The big one is NREX, so the rest is pretty simple. Back to just the criteria page. The additional fields are probably the one people get most use out of that they don't know about, right? Because if I want to search for main floor laundry, I'm going to have to add a field to my search screen, and that's special areas. I think their biggest problem is they don't know what part of the listing input form that's on, so they're trying to search main floor laundry, but it's contained in a different list. So you have to know the name of the list.
So I'm still blown away by the marketing remarks. Because I've got like pool in my head, like clients
Right.
are looking for pool. And you
Yeah.
really can't, you click on pool on here and it kind of, it doesn't,
Right.
it doesn't benefit you.
Because it's not even a mandatory field, right? And that's one of the things I've been out telling people too is, as a list agent, if your property has anything in those optional fields, click it,
So
because
what you're-
people
what
will
you're going
search
through
it and
right
won't
there
find
is
it.
what I would typically do, but I think that it might be more beneficial actually.
To do the marketing remarks. I always tell people kind of start with your additional fields because then you know for sure that that's the field they chose. But yeah, marketing will always help on that piece. All right.
Yeah, the fields are the ones that people are gonna go to first, because you don't know how many agents out there don't know, also don't know about marketing searches.
Right.
So you gotta click off those boxes.
Yep. But are there any additional fields you guys had questions on that you would like to
I
add?
didn't
Or
know we had questions on these fields.
Right.
That's awesome.
This is why it's good to be here.
Yes.
All right.
Just that marketing, I'm like, I got.
Right.
We're here.
2 hours today. So it's a read through.
Yes. And that's just the thing, right? And if nothing else, it will put you in the correct area that you're looking for, you know, because if the house down the street allows horses, that one will probably too. So yeah, that's one of the big, really cool pieces in here. Right? And you might call support too, because Jason, I know, has a whole string of as is terms that they'll give you for different things to put in there, you know, with rehabs and all those different crazy terms.
And you can put all the terms in as long as you have asterisks in between.
And a comma. So the comma is going to say this is another one, but the asterisk will say this is contained. Absolutely. All right. And because we kind of mentioned CCP at the very beginning, when people are searching for active under contract, you guys know that there is a with kick out and no kick out. So if you want to default that to only ever search for with kick out, there is a default button to change your search starting parameters. So you can always update those. Or if you're always searching in a specific county or in a specific city, you can always default those so you don't have to add them every time. Okay. I'm trying to think of
Is
some
there a
good
way
ones.
to cheat on like the school districts?
Cheat how?
Well, I always have to go through here unless I'm just doing it the wrong way to
Okay.
find out the number. So
Oh, for the
like
area?
School district like 414, 415, 416, I think is all
No, not the code for it.
I was going to say, are you looking
right there
up
in
here?
area. Mhm.
Because I would just go down and do Washington School District down here.
Under school district, okay.
Yeah, that way, because the areas are even slightly off from the school district, depending on how the agents used to search that specific area and what would fall in
So
and
if I
what
go
wouldn't.
into though, like what you just did, I'm like getting Fort Zumo North, Fort Zumo South, Fort Zumo
Right.
East, Fort Zumo West, whatever it is.
Right.
It's not as specific, right?
The school district would be just what was in Washington, whereas this 414 might be a little bit into some of the other school districts. Yep. All right. We talked about the one address, but there is a more button on your detail screen where if you have more than one address, you can search them all together. So if you're going on a tour on Saturday or something like that.
So on here,
Mhm.
I know there's a way, I just don't know how to do it. So,
Sure.
so if we're showing a client 5 houses, and we want to route those 5 houses,
Mhm.
how do we get, what the best route is?
You're looking for, the easiest one is this showing time showing cart. Do you guys use that ever? Because that one will let you smart route it. So when I add it,
How do you smell it?
so when you're in Matrix,
This is something I'll never get, obviously, because we're starting at the start, right? You lost me with that 4-letter word.
so you have,
Show the dumb route.
so I have this 5 selected, and I went down to showing time down here.
Okay.
Instead of the individual one. It opens up and looks like this. And then it's going to tell me how long between each property I have. And there's a smart route button at the bottom. So all I have to do is click that, and Google's going to reroute that for me to say this is the best way we think that you should go through these properties.
Every time I show multiple properties.
Right.
The trick is going to the bottom, because when you go to the top, you've got it's one individual appointment at a time. You gotta
Yes.
pick the time first, which is.
Yes.
Right, that's why I put it in.
Beats the-
Right. Yeah, if you go up to kind of one of these, you're doing a single showing cart smart route. Mm-hmm.
And then it'll tell you, those little round, the one with the blue, pick a time. It'll tell you how much time you get going over the next one.
Right. Exactly. And you can add a listing or another stop. So if you're starting here at the office, you can add the office first, so it will route that in to it. So yeah, lots.
So when they add another stop, you can just put in a physical address for them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I just hit add.
And then that go like, oh, I just found this one, we add this one, and you can go back and you can add that one.
Yes.
To your cart, and then.
How do you get your card?
So let me see if I can go back here. So say that I find a different one.
Yeah.
And I go to showing time again. Now the showing cart has that I can add to it, add to a current tour.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yes. Showing time. I love showing time. I think they make everything super simple. Easy.
And then to the sheets out, and then when you're done, just you're gonna look at what properties, you get your times in, and then you hit send, and it sends out your request all at one time.
Yes.
You know how I
Yeah.
figure out my routes? Kim?
They kill a whole lot
I
of time.
know.
So yeah, just what she was talking about.
Randy and Margarita.
So then I can just pick, and then it's going to give me those normal ones. I'm going to save it, and then I can see what's blocked, so I can go out to the appropriate time, know how long is in between. And like she said, as soon as I hit send, all those agents get that confirmation. And if they're go and show, same thing, they'll just approve, right? Appointments required. These ones are the ones you have to watch out for, because those are the ones you still have to call to set up the
So
time.
once these are set up like this,
Mm-hmm.
can I email that to my client?
You should
Say
be
this
able
is the
to.
route that we can get. This is
There is
the sequence, or-
an email and a print button up here,
Okay.
so you can kind of print
Okay.
those. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Let me see. Any other questions on criteria or map search? Trying to think if there's anything super cool I'm missing. And I'll think about it later. If there is, we'll come back. But results, and you guys may have already done this because you didn't seem super impressed by it, and everybody loves it. When you add a column to your single line display, do you already have that down?
I don't
Oh,
do-
okay.
I don't do that.
So say that I'm doing a CMA, right? And I want to see what the basement description for all these properties is. Instead of clicking here, I can just click to, maybe left click, there we go, to insert a column into my single line display. And maybe this is my basement description. So I can add that in there.
Well, why are we doing that?
And
So this is just a quick view. Like, let's say sometimes you're looking for
Oh,
square footage
I
or
see.
something or whatever.
Mhm.
Right? It's not on that quick view.
oh,
Right.
Cool.
Right. So, yeah, we always specifically, or I usually specifically mention because of CMAs, because you're always trying to compare against each other. But exactly, if you're looking for a specific property and you need to know it all has these, and all I did was hover at the end of any column. When my cursor changed, I left clicked, and that opened up the insert or remove a column option. Mhm. Right, usually people get to it just by mistake. They're like, what did I push to get that button? But yeah, you just hover to the end of any column heading, left click, and then insert or remove. You can do the wrap line too, so if you do something like remarks, you can shrink it down so that it widens the columns versus having to read across the whole screen. And you can save this, because once you log out, I've just added that basement description, it goes away, right? It resets itself. So if I click the little piece of paper with a pencil, I can give this a name like single line with basements and save that as a copy. And now I always have that available to go back through and click on, right? I could have a display for just my client. So I have everything that they want to look for. I could have CMAs or whatever you need in there. I even have one for kind of list agent info or selling agent info. So I know if I'm looking at my production, what is mine and what is shared. So something like that. So lots of different ways you can roll those. Okay, let's go back. And anymore. You guys do see all your listing data, your tax data still. We put it in this new 360 view, which I do like that they did. I'm so used to telling people, though, how to go out to tax records. I'm like, oh, just click on the black box. It's like, nope, just click on the tab, and it's all right there for you. You are able to print all of them as a group. So if you click one and hit print, it will offer that on the side right here. So generally, you might just have listing chosen, or you can add, I want the tax records and the parcel map and the flood map, whatever you want to print as a whole. You might want to remember those are clicked if you have like 20 listings, but just, it will. Yes, as soon as you change it once, it will hold, tries to customize. While we're here, do you guys use the CMA one line and the 3-up comparison? Awesome. Those are my two favorite CMAs in the system. Very quick, simple. I pulled my comps. I just want to see them on a piece of paper.
What's the 3-up comparison? I don't ever do that.
That's what you were trying to tell me that day. Remember, I was like, oh, you need that comparison? You were like, yeah. I'm like,
So you were impressed. And then you remember it was me.
So the CMA one line's just your normal, but the 3-up puts them side by side. So you can talk across each individual property. All right. Okay. Little quick things about the icons as well, just in case you guys aren't aware of what they are. The little theater reel, of course, is virtual tours. The little alarm clock is your property history. So if you need to know how many times that listing has been in the MLS before, all of that property history will link together based off tax ID number. So it should all be within that little alarm clock. The realist buttons, again, you guys already have a little tax sheet, so you can use them if you want to. The supplements or disclosures, use HomeSnap in this office. Okay, the only reason I ask is your disclosures are in HomeSnap now as well. So if you're out on the go and you have HomeSnap open, you'll get the disclosures on your phone instantly too. Then open houses and of course showing time. Let me go back to, let's talk a little bit of saving for our clients. Do you guys generally use the auto email function?
We use a different source for that.
Okay, so you have a program.
Yeah, we have a
Okay.
program.
Okay, then we don't even have to go into this one if you guys have a specific program that you use. All right, so let's go. Any other questions on searching as a whole through a regular search screen? do you guys know that there's a public record realist search in Matrix now? So if you're used to going out to realist to do searches, you can just do that in Matrix now. So if you go search public record, it opens up those similar search terms to what realist has. You can print mailing labels through here. You can do all of your kind of searches that you're used to in realist. Well, what happened was for not phasing it out, they had to redo it because it was run by Flash Player, and they stopped using Flash Player. So they had to redo the whole system. Yep, so it looks a little different. It's mobilely designed now, so if you use it on your phone, you won't have an issue accessing it or using it through your phone. But yeah, so it just looks a little different, and people get a little concerned when they go in there. No.
Nobody likes change.
Right, nobody likes change, exactly. Like I said, in kind of Q1, there's a new Matrix piece coming out, and it's amazing, but I know people will be like uncomfortable with it, but it's really cool. What? Gotcha, I understand that. Like I said, even me, when they had that new display, I'm like, just go to the little button. Why are you? Oh, it's on there. Yep, that works too. But yeah, so you can do all your kind of searches through here as well. Do you have one person that enters all your listings? Do you each individually enter listings? Kindle, do you all of that? Okay. We won't worry about it. Okay. Well, then we won't go through that piece either. I don't want to kind of get you too crazy into that. I do want to talk about the home screen, and then we can go out and look at Remind real quick unless you guys have other questions. My listings piece, this is where I take a lot of people to, just so if you do, and this is not, oh, sorry, you do not have to enter your own listings to see this. They're just sitting there on your screen. The one piece about this is withheld listings. So if you do any withheld listings in the system, anyone in your brokerage, that's where they're going to be held. Okay, so you'll want to be able to see those because those are the listings that are only available to those within this office. And those, of course, have to do with CCP rules and just what you guys can and can't want to see and don't want to see. We also have reverse prospecting in here and hit counters. So those are the two things I like to show people as well. I don't know if you guys use those very often. Reverse prospecting is the way. Right? Okay. And that it's such a new era we're in, it's hard to know where to take people anymore. What's the best way to show you, right? Because, yeah, everything's changing. So the hit counters are here. When you go into any listings, though, you do have the ability to reverse prospect. I know you guys said you've seen that. So when you go in, the only piece that a lot of people don't know is there's a number there, and that will tell you what number you're a part of. So if you're one of 10 listings, it's going to show you there's 10 other listings in that cart. If you're one of 100, it's going to show you you're one of 100. So that helps you narrow down maybe which one to target more than another, because I know it's only one of 10 versus one of 100. Okay, and your favorites and all of that will be there also.
Is there a quick way to contact that list?
No, I wish there was, but I mean, you could go through and do I think you could do a copy and pull from this to Excel on the reverse prospect screen because all their emails should be there, but it won't hold the contact names and things. Yeah. Other one, of course, is hit counters, and that is your ability to show your client who's viewing their property through the system. Yeah, hit counters is a good one too. Right, and the reason I love it is because, you know, it lets them know the power you guys have behind you to push that property out to all these people. So hit counters is always a good one. Okay, anything else you guys want to see on Matrix before I kind of jump in and show you that Remind piece real quick?
I don't know if everybody is familiar with the finance tab. You want to click on that, it has some resources if you're
Right.
wondering about seller proceeds or
Mm-hmm.
calculators, whatnot.
Yep, so you can go through and add all of your information here. I'm trying to remember which column. The blue columns, don't type in those. They auto-populate for you, but they won't tell you not to put something in them. So they kind of do a weird kind of weird thing there. But yeah, you just go through, enter anything you want to with the seller's estimated proceeds or the buyer's closing costs, and you can see all of that information there as well. And there are some stats in here. I am a big user of market stats, so I don't know if you guys have seen that one or not, but those are pretty simple and quick and easy to use. So lunch market stats, what's a good area that you guys are normally in? Should I just do Chesterfield? Okay. So I'm looking in Chesterfield, and I just want to see how many showings it takes to get me to pending in Chesterfield. So if I click here, I get this little graph, right? Now it's pretty simple. All I did is put in a place and what to run, but then I can share these out with people. So I can put it on Facebook, I can put it on my website, I can put it on LinkedIn to kind of let them know what's going on in an area. You can go static or live. Static means exactly how you pulled the report is how it's going to stay, whereas live is going to update as those numbers change, right? Just talking about whether you're putting it on your website or just a social media post. A lot of people think the line's a little too much. It's hard to read, but there's also a bar graph, so you can just look there too, but very quick and simple. Let's do this though. What's a good place to compare Chesterfield to? Okay. There we go. So now I have two lines. One is Chesterfield and one is Wildwood. I can go through and see the month supply of inventory, the percentage of list price, the homes for sale, price per square foot, and I'm just going to compare those two. You can compare up to 4. You can use school districts, zip codes, counties, areas, whatever you need to in the system.
Yeah, I couldn't remember why I was looking for absorption rates. And I was like, where is it? I know it's in here, I couldn't find it.
Yep, absorption rate. Yeah, that's the kind of month supply there too. There's also fast stats in here. So if you just want to doing a link presentation and you're in Missouri and you're in St. Charles County and maybe we'll do Wentzville and it's just going to, it should just open up a quick report. I can just plug in presentation and walk away. All right. And market stats, if you have showing time app on your phone, it's already on your phone. Market stats is a piece of showing time. So it's in there already. And it's very mobile designed. All right. And finally, I'll show you guys this one real quick, just because it's a fun. Has anybody been in Remind at all?
I have a little bit.
A little bit. Okay. So this. Oh, do you? Well, and it's
a little confusing.
Yes, here's what I tell you with Remind. If you're using it for your buyers, Matrix is so much easier for me because that's how I'm used to doing it and just sending data out. If you're using it for marketing or farming in an area, Remind is amazing and can offer you lots of great tools. So if I just go into, say, Chesterfield, and it's going to put that shape on them for me, drill down these results using the filters that Remind has. So there's 15,000 plus people in Chesterfield, right? But how many of them own their home for longer than 7 years? Right, so I take 15,000 all the way down to 9,000, right? I can look up, well, how many of those are absentee owners? I just want to target renters in the area. So I could go ahead and add to the list as well and narrow that down, right? I went from 9,000 to 354 just to absentee users. The one that they show, people get a little, that's very big brothery feel to it, is the sell score. So they use predictive analytics to determine how likely a property is to sell within the next 6 months. And they use at least 3 pieces of data. They don't give us the full ingredients. So they say public records, census data, and consumer data trends. So if we know somewhere here in Chesterfield, Mary owns a 1-bedroom condo. Through public records, we find out that Mary so a 1-bedroom condo went from 1 to 2. That's still okay. But through consumer data trends, we realized that Mary's searching for maternity clothes. So her 1-bedroom condo went from 1 to 2 to 3 or more people. So they pull all this data together to give you that knowledge, basically. So if I go to sell score and the medium to high likelihood to sell, that takes my 9,000s down to 1,200. Okay, and then I could keep going from there. Now, do you want to use all of Chesterfield? 1,200 is still a lot to market to, right? Maybe you do, or you narrow it down by using the kind of drawing tools on the side as well. When I get all these, I'm going to select all my results and add them to a cart. Oh, that's the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to add all these to my EXP mark. And I'm going to hit create. I'm going to add those properties. Find Pro, so you can track up to 10,000 properties. When you put them in a cart, they are tracked. So anytime they would go on the market, anytime the mortgage changed hands, you see those update as well to the system. They live over here in this cart section. So I can go into my EXP marketing. And if I wanted to select, I could export this to a CSV file or Excel file. Maybe, I don't know if you guys create your own postcards here, if you have a company that does that. But if you have a company, you can just export and say, here's my list. And they can just send those on. If you have your own postcards, you can just print mailing labels. Or if you just want to create 2 postcards, because maybe there's a minimum at the printer that you have, you can send mailers to just 2 people or to however many you'd want to. So that's kind of mine's power there, is to take a marketing area, narrow it down to target who you want, and then let you send it out however you want to. They're big pieces. They're not yet at that CRM level, right? They don't have the ability to tell you, well, you just sent this a month ago. You need to follow up on this one. But it does just hold in the system for you. And you can look at statuses. So if I have all 1,700 of these and I don't want to reach out to those at the MLS, I can sort those out of there each time I do those mailers. Anything else you guys want to see in the brain?
Any other huge advantages?
Remind, the only other thing people like the small parts, and I can tell you about that. Engage is the ability to invite your client into the app with you. So home app. The big difference is Remind will offer them a free credit report when they get started. And then you get to track that as well. So it's called Engage, and you send them an email, they verify their identity if they want to, they can skip it. And once they've verified their identity, they would receive their credit score. It would turn blue right here. And you, the agent, would see what credit bucket they fell into. So you'd have backup knowledge they're ready to continue, or maybe we need to talk about, credit rebuilding, whatever could be in there. And then you get to kind of follow their favorite share and any searches that they create. The last one here is e-signature documents. Do you guys already have like a .loop DocuSign? So this is probably not one you'd really need, especially if you have more of the broker tool one where it's all combined together. This is just for a little, I have a file, PDF, I need to upload it, add a signature, get my client to sign it and send it back. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does it hold the, like, if you have a whole transaction?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it just holds it. It's like a folder structure, it looks like, just like a computer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, trying to think if there's anything else fun that you guys want to see. There's stuff, but I know I'm kind of at the end of my time. Cloud CMA, I love Cloud CMA. They're, to me, a little expensive, but they're beautiful reports. They work very hard to do a very good job of designing them. They actually have 3 webinars they're doing with us to go through it. They'll be in September 1st, I think is the first one. But they are beautifully designed. They always tell us these at kind of their conferences. People will put an iPad on the back of their headrests so that their clients can watch the CMAs scroll through. Now, we probably aren't having clients in our cars anymore, but to send them something on their iPad that they or iPhone that they can click through is important. So they're very good at that. Are there any
So it's more about
specific?
presentation than anything.
Yes, it's very big on presentation. They do a quick and dirty where they will pull it for you, or where you can pull your own comps and you add other data. So if you have a tax sale you want to put in there, you can put in there as well.
What about RPR?
RPR, I love RPR. I like a lot of products. Maybe because I have to train them all. That's it. So RPR, it's a lot of data, but it's a lot of great data. If any starting point, I always like that they have school reports or market reports. So say that I'm going to do an virtual open house today, and I want to send a school report out to everyone on my Facebook page to let them know about the schools in that area. It's very quick and simple to just pull that report through RPR and share it onto Facebook. I love their CMAs. They're very in-depth. CMA is crazy amazing and allows you to do a lot with it that you can't do in a normal CMA. And of course it won't let me in. That's not nice. Did it? So it's RPR maybe instead of, okay. So other piece that realtors love generally is this refine the view piece. Yes, this is an RPR. Yeah. So it will give you an AVM or RVM, which is just a value market of, what is it? Automated valuation model or valuation model to tell you what that property is worth. If it's an RVM, you'll have a view details where you can see what properties they use to determine that value. And then refine will let you go in as the agent and say, well, but records is wrong. This is only 1,500 square feet. Hey, they just added a family room in February of 19 and it cost them $20,000, right? And it's going to adjust that value by depreciation and different things. And you can still add needed improvements too. So if they have to paint, they needed carpeting, you can put that information in. So yeah, and that's all just through kind of going to that home screen, plugging in an address, looking at the RVM, and it just sits right next to it. Right, your value is going to change. Right. Mm-hmm. Yep. And with their CMAs, they offer kind of two ways to do those. So if I have just a normal CMA, you just weight what its comps are like the subject property, how much they are. So you're like, hey, this is really like the subject property. It's going to adjust for that. This is also going to remove a value for that. But their big one lets you go in and say, well, it's $10,000 for this and $2,000 for that. That's only thing, and people get worried about this with a CMA, this sample is 75 pages long. Yes, click on more deals, hide the pages you don't want. There's a little eye right next to the page so you can see exactly what the page looks like before you remove it. So yeah, it's got a lot of cool data in there. But again, it seems overwhelming. So go in there and set it up one time, and it's quick and easy to use. All right. Any other things I can use with?
Anything else you guys? Everybody else?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Mhm.
Find stuff that forget about it.
I gotcha. And I know Curtis asked about CCP. Jeff Bosch is really amazing at that. So if you need someone to chat through that, I know you guys seem like you have a good hold on it, but if you ever have questions, he's amazing. Yes. And I think he said to tell you hi. I can't remember if it was him or David. So yes, they were like, say hi.
Very good. Anybody got any other questions?
Right? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You're